You wake up in darkness. Not the kind you escape by blinking, but a heavy living blackness that breathes around you. The air is thick, rancid, clinging to your skin like a second rotting layer. Walls pulse, floors drip. You're not in a cave. You're inside something alive. Welcome to a xenomorph hive, a sprawling nightmare stitched together from resin, bone, and bodies. There's no light, no exit signs, no safety here. Only the constant certainty you're being watched, hunted, and very soon claimed. This isn't survival, it's surrender on a molecular level, and your time is already up. Step inside. You won't see much. Your eyes will strain against the dark, but it's not just the lack of light, it's the atmosphere itself, swallowing every photon. A dense, humid mist hangs low, crawling along the ground like it has somewhere to be. Your flashlight, if you were smart enough to bring one, barely cuts a few feet ahead before the beam is smothered. The air is thick, damp, and foul. A nauseating cocktail of rotting meat and something sharper, almost chemical, like burning plastic mixed with decay. You try to breathe through your mouth. It doesn't help. The floor under your feet gives, slightly like wet cartilage. It squelches softly with every step, an unholy blend of organic material and hardened resin. This isn't stone, this isn't rock. This is flesh, bone, and the hardened secretions of a creature that redefines what evolution can twist into reality. The walls, if you can call them that, loom and ripple, veined and ribbed, like the inside of a colossal throat. Black resin, glossy and wet, reflects faint, distorted glimpses of yourself as you move. Warped silhouettes barely distinguishable from the architecture itself. Everything is fused. The walls, the floor, the ceiling, all seemingly grown from one terrible root system and woven into the walls, shapes, human shapes, or at least they used to be. Bodies are embedded in the resin, some half swallowed, others fully entombed with only a hand or a screaming face visible. Skin stretched thin, muscles frozen mid-spasm, eyes wide open, lifeless. It's hard to tell how long they've been there. Hours, days, maybe longer, maybe. Time doesn't exist here. Only waiting. Only horror. The hive is alive. Not in a poetic way. You can feel it. A low-frequency hum vibrates through the structure. A heartbeat, not your own. Occasionally, the walls pulse gently, contracting and expanding, almost as if breathing. It's not random, it's coordinated. You're inside a vast living organism, a grotesque extension of the Queen's will, and the deeper you go, the more the hive seems to recognize your intrusion. Like white blood cells detecting a virus. The temperature is oppressive, a stagnant, sticky heat that feels thick enough to chew. Sweat beads along your scalp, trickles down your back, but it doesn't cool you. If anything, it makes you feel more exposed, more vulnerable, and you are. Sound is your enemy here. Every breath, every shift of your boot echoes. The hive amplifies noise in a way that seems unnatural, feeding it back to you distorted and delayed. You hear yourself breathing before you even finish the breath. You step forward and hear the squelch behind you half a second too late. It frays the edges of your mind, tricks your sense of space and time. It tells you you're not alone, even when, especially when, you think you are. Orientation. Forget it. The hive is a maze designed for confusion. Corridors twist and spiral without logic, branching off and rejoining in ways that should be geometrically impossible. You can leave a trail, sure, if you think scratching resin with a knife will help you. It won't. The walls heal. The resin grows back. Within minutes, your path is erased, swallowed by the living architecture. No, technology can save you either. Radios are useless, GPS is dead, and your compass will spin aimlessly. The hive has its own electromagnetic hum, interfering with anything that might offer a way out. You are isolated by biology and physics alike. Panic is natural here. Your heart races. Your palms sweat. And every instinct screams at you to run. But running gets you nowhere. Faster. The hive isn't just trapping you physically. It's battering you psychologically, feeding on your fear. The more afraid you are, the faster you breathe, the more noise you make, the quicker you die. Some areas are worse than others. You might stumble into a pit where the walls seem to breathe more heavily, thick with mist and the stench of something freshly dead. Pools of liquid gather in depressions, murky and bubbling, and you won't want to know what's in them. Spores float lazily through the air, invisible until your flashlight catches them, like dust in sunlight, except these specks could probably kill you if inhaled. Sometimes you'll think the walls are moving. You'll catch glimpses of shifting shadows out of the corner of your eye. You'll tell yourself it's your imagination. You'll lie to yourself until the moment one of those shadows peels away from the wall, unfolds with impossible grace, and you realize it wasn't a shadow at all. It was waiting, watching, testing your fear. The hive doesn't just conceal the xenomorphs, it is them. It's an extension of their biology, their consciousness. Every drop of resin, every contorted tunnel is part of a greater whole. And somewhere, in that endless darkness, the queen waits, vast, brooding, and patient. But you're not thinking about her yet. Right now, you're thinking about how much you want to get out, and how impossible that is. Every sense you have, sight, sound, smell, touch, is compromised. Your survival instincts, honed over millions of years, are useless here. You're prey in an ecosystem designed to punish overconfidence and reward terror. You're not just lost, you've been claimed. At first, it's subtle. You tell yourself you're just disoriented. It's natural, trapped in an endless maze of biological horror. But the more you walk, the more the walls seem to shift. You notice a corridor that wasn't there before, a turn that leads you right back to where you started, even though you never turned around. You mark your steps, pace carefully, double back the way you came, only to find new walls have formed behind you, cutting off your return. The hive isn't a static structure. It's reactive. It's watching you. You feel it first in your chest. A tightness that makes every breath shallow, panicked. Claustrophobia blooms like rot inside your mind. The narrow corridors seem to contract the deeper you go. Your shoulders brush against the slick resin walls, no matter how close you press your arms to your sides. You hunch instinctively, as if trying to make yourself smaller, but it doesn't help. The space feels too tight for a body to exist, too wrong for air to circulate. When you reach a larger chamber, you might breathe a momentary sigh of relief, until you realize the open space is worse. In the narrow corridors, at least you knew where the walls were. Here, the walls are lost in the dark, and you're an exposed figure in the center of a vast, hidden world. You are small, alone, and dreadfully visible. But what gnaws at you most is the motion. The walls are not still. They flex, pulse, twitch. Veins beneath the resin seem to throb rhythmically, a sluggish imitation of a heartbeat. The resin occasionally shifts, stretches, expands, as if inhaling. The hive breathes in tandem with your steps. Or maybe, worse, it anticipates them. You can't tell if it's real or a trick of your overstimulated mind, but it doesn't matter. Here, reality and nightmare have merged into the same thing. Your hands tremble, your flashlight flickers, and in that moment of brief darkness, you swear you see the walls ripple. A subtle shudder, a movement that stops the instant the light returns. You focus your beam. Nothing. Just wet, black resin and the indistinct bulges of half-digested corpses fused into the architecture. You want to call for help, shout, scream. But deep down, you know better. Sound is currency here, and it's expensive. Every noise you make is a flare shot into the sky, a signal to anything lurking nearby. Your breathing alone is a betrayal. Heavy, panicked gasps bouncing off the slick walls, returning to you in mocking echoes. You hold your breath instinctively, But that can only last so long. The worst part is how quickly the mind turns on itself. Paranoia blooms. You begin to doubt your own senses. Did that corridor just narrow behind you? Was that a figure you glimpsed ahead, or just a trick of the light? Are you alone, or has something been stalking you for the last 10 minutes? Spoiler, you're not alone. You feel phantom touches, the brush of something against your back, the tickle of movement near your feet. You whirl, flashlight flailing wildly, but there's nothing, only resin and darkness. Still, the sense of being observed never leaves. It's a persistent itch between your shoulder blades that no amount of turning or checking can ever satisfy. The hive is a perfect predator's lair. It doesn't just trap your body, it unravels your mind, slowly, purposefully. Every minute spent inside its choking walls erodes your composure, your logic, your humanity. Panic rises in sharp, unmanageable spikes. You might try to reassure yourself with rational thoughts. This is just biology. This is just an alien species nest. But when you hear a wet slithering from the ceiling, when you feel the floor vibrate, softly underfoot, reason dissolves. At some point, your nerves give out. You start to run. You tell yourself it's controlled, a tactical retreat, but it's not. It's blind panic. Boots slipping on the resin-slick floor, heart hammering a deafening rhythm in your ears. You careen around a corner, and there it is, an egg chamber. You skid to a stop too late, the beam of your flashlight revealing row upon row of leathery ovoids, their tops slightly undulating, as if something inside is stirring. The smell is overwhelming here, a humid, suffocating mix of decay, ammonia, and something coppery and sharp. Instinct screams at you to back away, but your feet are frozen, rooted by terror. You're standing in the heart of the hive now, and the hive knows. Maybe you hear a hiss behind you, low, guttural, inhuman. Maybe you don't. It doesn't matter. What matters is that somewhere above you, blending perfectly with the ribbed ceiling, a xenomorph peels itself from the shadows. It moves with impossible grace, soundless but for the faint slickness of its exoskeleton sliding free from the resin. It drops silently behind you, and you don't even feel the claws as they wrap around your arms. You only feel the pull, irresistibly strong, as you're yanked off your feet and dragged backward into the dark. You fight, of course. Everyone does. Instinct, survival, sheer human stubbornness. But here it's laughable. You are not the apex predator. You are a meal ticket, a carrier, a seedbed. As you are hauled deeper into the hive, past the glistening corpses and the pulsing walls, the last thing you understand, truly understand, is that you were never meant to escape. The hive was not built for exploration. It was built for harvesting, and you, my friend, are ripe. You don't know it, but the moment you stepped into the hive, you became prey. The hive isn't just alive, it's aware, and its awareness is enforced by perfect, merciless hunters, the xenomorph drones. They are the hive's hands, eyes, and teeth. And they've been tracking you since you took your first trembling step. You can't hear them. Not really. You might catch the faintest scrape of claw on resin if you're lucky, a whisper of movement so soft it could be your imagination. They don't breathe, at least not the way you expect. No panting, no huffing, no betraying lungfuls of air to give away their position. Silence is their nature. They move like living shadows, clinging to walls and ceilings where no creature should fit, blending so perfectly into the hive's sick architecture that you'd walk right past them without a second glance. That's their advantage. You can't hunt what you can't perceive. Xenomorphs aren't just fast, they're precise. They know the layout of the hive better than you know your own home. Every corridor, every narrow passageway, every blind turn, all mapped instinctively, in the alien mind. And you're fumbling, slipping, staggering through the dark. To them, you're less an intruder and more an inevitability, prey cornered before the chase even begins. But they aren't just relying on sight to find you. No, their senses are tailored for environments just like this. Xenomorphs can detect changes in air pressure, sense vibrations through the resin-coated floors and walls. They can smell you, not just your scent, but the chemical fear leaking from your skin. Adrenaline, sweat, panic. You are broadcasting a signal you can't turn off, and every drone within range hears it loud and clear. The walls amplify your fear, literally. The hive is an acoustic nightmare, designed to reflect, distort, and carry sound in the most disorienting ways possible. Your breathing echoes back at you, louder than it should be. Your heartbeat thunders in your own ears. Every footstep is a shout into the void, rebounding off resin-coated surfaces and leading them straight to you. You stop moving. You think, if I stay still, they can't find me. A classic human mistake, one born from dealing with predators who rely on sight or motion. But the drones don't need you to move. They can feel you through the floor. They can smell you in the stagnant, humid air. You are not hiding. You are waiting for them. And they are patient. Xenomorphs do not need to rush. They have no concept of mercy or boredom. They will wait. They will stalk you for hours if necessary. They'll herd you without you even realizing it, nudging you deeper into the hive, toward traps you can't see, toward fates you can't imagine. Sometimes one will show itself, just for a moment, a fleeting glimpse of a sinewy limb disappearing around a corner, the flash of silvered teeth catching your flashlight beam, a shadow that shouldn't move but does. It's not a mistake, it's strategy. They want you to panic, to run, to make noise, to stumble blindly into a dead end or an egg chamber. Panic makes you sloppy. Panic makes you loud. Panic makes you easy, and you are easy. There's another reason they hunt with such precision. It's not just the hive they serve, it's the queen. Somewhere, deep within the labyrinthine nightmare you've entered, she waits, colossal, pulsating, laying egg after egg in a grotesque parody of motherhood. Every drone is her child, and every intruder is a threat to her brood. The queen's will pulses through the hive like a command signal, guiding the drone's movements with perfect, instinctive coordination. They aren't acting alone, they're operating as a hive mind, a living army, controlled by a creature whose intelligence is matched only by her monstrous cruelty. When the queen senses a threat, when she senses you, she doesn't need to bark orders. The drones know, and they come. You'll never see the one that gets you. Not really. Maybe you'll hear the slightest slither above your head. Maybe you'll catch a glint of something impossibly fast moving at the edge of your vision. But then it's already too late. The drones don't kill on sight. Oh no, that would be a waste. You're valuable, not as meat, but as a host. They aim to incapacitate, not kill. A swift strike to knock you off balance. A tail that whips around, your legs, a clawed hand that clamps over your face, cutting off your scream. And then, silence. You'll be dragged through the hive's living arteries, deeper and deeper, to a place where the walls breathe heavier, where the air is thicker, fouler. You'll be cocooned, your body wrapped tight in layers of resin, secreted by your captors, immobilized but awake, aware, waiting for the next phase. And as you hang there, trapped, helpless, listening to the wet squelch of an egg beginning to open somewhere nearby, you'll realize the hunt was never about you. It was about what you could become, a vessel, a seed, a sacrifice. And the worst part, the hive is patient. If it doesn't catch you in the first hour or the second, it doesn't matter. It's not if, it's when. Because in here, in the belly of this living tomb, there's only one outcome. You're not escaping. You're evolving into something far worse. You probably think you've seen monsters before. Maybe in dreams, maybe in movies. Clawed things, fanged things, shadows that creep under doors and whisper threats you can't understand. Forget all of that, because at the top of the hive's food chain, beyond the shadows and the drones, beyond even the architecture of the hive itself, is a single creature. She is bigger, older, smarter, and crueler than anything you have the capacity to imagine. She is the queen. The drones that stalk you through the corridors aren't rogue predators. They aren't hunting for food or sport. They are working, obeying, following the will of a towering intelligence connected to every inch of the hive. They don't have to communicate with one another, not in the way you think of it. They are linked, bound by pheromones, instinct, and something deeper, more primal, a shared purpose, a single mind split across dozens, maybe hundreds, of bodies, and at the center of it all is her. Massive, imposing, beautiful, in the way an avalanche is beautiful, unstoppable, inevitable, and utterly indifferent to your existence. Imagine a creature as tall as a two-story house, but faster and more vicious than anything human-sized. Her crown-like headplate stretches out behind her, a grotesque fusion of armor and organic horror. Her limbs are long, tipped with claws sharp enough to shred steel. Her tail whips and coils like a serpent, thick as a tree trunk, ending in a blade that could gut a tank. And behind her, constantly in motion, a gigantic ovipositor, endlessly producing eggs, the next generation of killers. The queen doesn't need to move to be dangerous. She doesn't need to speak to command. Every drone, every facehugger, every inch of resin in the hive exists for her, to protect her, to serve her, to propagate her species. You could be miles away from her throne room and still feel her influence pressing against your mind like a physical weight. Because when you stepped into the hive, you didn't just enter a building, you entered her body. You might think you've been quiet, careful. Maybe you haven't screamed yet. Maybe you think you're clever, moving slow, keeping your flashlight low. Maybe you think you can sneak out the way you came in. You can't, because the queen knows you're here. She knew the moment you crossed the threshold. She smelled the oxygen you exhaled, the trace chemicals of your sweat, the electromagnetic whisper of your heart beating too fast. She's been watching, feeling, sending her children to herd you. Not directly to her, not yet, but deeper, farther into the hive. The drones are her hands, but the hive itself is her skin, her nerves, her mind. Every vibration you make is a signal along the resinous veins. Every breath, every footstep is a whisper in her ear, and she doesn't need to rush. The queen has patience carved into her DNA. She has time, more time than you have blood left to lose. She will let you exhaust yourself, let you panic, let you stumble and scream and cry. Because fear isn't just delicious, it's useful. Fear makes hosts compliant, makes them easier to cocoon, easier to seed, easier to break. If, and it's a big if, you ever caught sight of her, it would already be too late. You'd freeze, instinct screaming at you to run, to fight, to do anything other than stare into the abyss of her eyeless face. She wouldn't charge. She wouldn't roar. She would only watch as the drones closed in around you, cutting off every exit, tightening the net with surgical precision. You're not an intruder to be repelled. You're raw material to be processed. That's the brutal efficiency of the hive. There's no waste here. Every victim becomes another brick in the living architecture. Every struggle strengthens the hive's foundations. Every death nourishes the queen's endless brood. And she's always hungry. Even if you somehow avoid capture, if you somehow outwit the drones, dodge the facehuggers, escape the resinous labyrinth, it doesn't matter. You're marked. The queen's scent is on you now. Her children will follow you, wherever you go. The hive's reach doesn't end at its walls. It travels, migrates, multiplies. A single survivor is a vector, a delivery system for the hive's expansion. You don't escape the hive, you spread it. That's why the queen doesn't panic, doesn't rage. She doesn't fear loss, because even in loss, she wins. A single embryo hidden in a host. A single new queen birthed on a new world, and the cycle begins again. You see, the hive isn't a place, it's a virus. It's an inevitability, and you, poor fool, are already infected. You're stumbling through the hive now, exhausted, delirious, maybe even starting to believe you've gotten lucky. Maybe the drones have lost your scent. Maybe you've outrun them. You haven't. But before you even realize the drones aren't, your biggest problem, you trip over something slick, low to the ground. You catch yourself, barely, and that's when your flashlight swings down and illuminates what you've stepped into. Eggs. Hundreds of them. You've wandered straight into the hive's beating heart. The egg chamber. The air changes here. Thicker, more humid. The smell is sharper too, a metallic tang like blood and bile cooked together. Your instincts, the old ones, the primal ones buried deep inside the human brain, scream at you to run, because even before your mind catches up, your body knows you're standing in death's waiting room. The eggs are grotesque, leathery things, each about the size of a beach ball, clustered together in tight formations. They don't sit neatly, like chicken eggs in a carton. They pulse gently as if breathing. Their tops ripple occasionally, shivering like something inside is testing the membrane for weaknesses. There's movement inside the eggs. You can see it if you watch too long. A flicker, a twitch, something long and spider-like shifting against the thin, slimy walls. Waiting, no, listening, because the moment you set foot among the eggs, they knew you were there. They can sense the vibrations of your footsteps, the carbon dioxide of your breath, the minute heat signature of your body. And one by one, the eggs begin to react. The tops peel open like nightmarish flowers, the flaps folding outward wetly. The insides glisten, slick and raw, strings of mucus stretching between the petals. And from within, the real horror emerges. Facehuggers. They don't leap right away. They wait, still, coiled, ready. You've heard of them maybe, stories whispered, in the dark. Maybe you thought you understood. A parasite, a simple organism, something that could be outwitted or outrun. Wrong. Facehuggers are perfection. Small, fast, and single-minded. Their long, bony fingers are jointed for flexibility and speed, designed to clamp around a host's head with brutal efficiency. Their long whip-like tails aren't just for balance. They're prehensile, wrapping around the throat to lock. Down the kill, you take a step back, slowly, carefully. A facehugger twitches in response. Your heart slams against your ribs. Another step, another twitch, and then it leaps. The movement is explosive, faster than anything that size should be. 1 second, it's nestled inside the egg, and the next it's airborne, claws splayed, tail lashing behind it like a grotesque kite string. You barely dodge it, feel the rush of displaced air as it sails past your face, and it lands with a sickening wet slap against the resin floor, skittering like a crab on overdrive, already turning for another lunge. You run because there's no other option. You weave between the eggs, heart hammering, lungs burning, flashlight beam jerking wildly. Behind you, more facehuggers are stirring, triggered by the commotion. You hear the wet pop of more eggs opening, the skittering of clawed limbs on resin. One leaps, misses. Another leaps, connects. It hits your shoulder, and instinct takes over. You rip it off, hurl it away, but the touch lingers. Clammy, powerful, wrong. You can't afford another hit. You sprint, harder now, knowing you can't outrun them forever. Facehuggers don't tire. They don't give up. They don't negotiate. Their entire existence is geared toward one goal: attach to a host and implant the embryo of a xenomorph, and they are terrifyingly efficient at it. Once attached, it's over. The facehugger wraps its tail around your throat, constricting just enough to block the carotid arteries. You pass out in seconds. Not from trauma, not from injury, from a precise, calculated application of pressure. You'll never even feel the next part. The facehugger inserts a tube down your throat, not just for air, but to deliver the embryo. It keeps you alive while it works, feeding you oxygen, nutrients, drugs, to keep your heart steady and your mind quiet. and then it waits. It doesn't detach immediately. It stays latched for hours, ensuring the embryo is safely implanted. That you're alive and incubating. When it's sure the job is done, it detaches, not with a rip or a tear. No, it peels away with surgical grace, leaving you unconscious, alive, and carrying death inside your ribcage. You won't even know. Not right away. You'll wake up groggy, confused, throat sore, ribs aching. You'll think you got lucky. You'll think you escaped. You didn't. You're a walking tomb now. The embryo, the chestburster, is growing fast, doubling in size every few hours. It feeds on your blood, your organs, your very life force. And when it's ready, it'll tear its way out of you, killing you instantly, screaming its first breath into the world it was designed to dominate. And the hive will have a new soldier. That's the brutal efficiency of the egg chamber. It's not a trap, it's a factory, and you, poor traveler, just punched your time card. You think you're fast. You're not. Facehuggers are designed to outrun you. Evolution, brutal, unforgiving evolution, has shaped them into the perfect delivery system. They're light, they're strong, and they don't waste movement. You, on the other hand, are heavy, clumsy, and slowing with every heartbeat. You're not in your element, you're in theirs. You can sprint, sure, maybe even outmaneuver one or two. But there aren't just one or two. There are dozens, hundreds, a seething mass of limbs and tails, skittering across resinous floors and walls, moving with speed and precision that no human could match. Every time you stumble, every time you hesitate, they close the gap. And the hive? It's designed to help them. The floor isn't flat. It's uneven, lumpy with resin, and the bodies of previous victims melted into the structure. The ground shifts under your feet, slick with moisture. Every turn looks identical. Every tunnel loops back on itself. You can't tell if you're moving forward or running in circles. You are. The hive's architecture funnels you, guiding you back toward danger. You think you're escaping, but you're not. You're being steered. A rat in a maze designed by a sadist. And the facehuggers, they don't get tired. You do. Your lungs burn, your legs ache, your chest tightens as panic and exhaustion claw at your insides. Adrenaline can only carry you so far. Biology will betray you. Your foot catches on a ridge in the floor. You barely recover, but the stumble costs you. Another facehugger launches from the darkness, landing inches from your face. You don't have time to react. Instinct saves you again. A wild, clumsy dodge. But you can't keep this up forever. You know it. They know it. You don't realize you're trapped until it's too late. The hive's layout has corralled you, subtly, expertly, into a dead end. No clear path forward. No way back without plowing through the sea of waiting eggs. And now the facehuggers don't have to chase you. They just have to wait for you to fail. You back up against the wall, your chest heaving, your flashlight trembling in your hand. The eggs around you pulse gently, one after another, splitting open with wet, obscene sounds. The facehuggers pour out, spindly legs twitching, tails lashing. You grip your only weapon tighter, maybe a crowbar, maybe a pipe, something you found and desperately held onto. You think about fighting, about smashing the eggs, about bashing the facehuggers away one by one. It's a fantasy. Even if you manage to destroy one, maybe two, the others will swarm you. They're faster. They're tireless. They are many, and you are one. And remember, they're not trying to kill you. They just need a moment, 1 second of hesitation, one slip, one false move. And once they're on you, it's over. You can try to pull them off. Rip at the bony fingers. Pry at the tail, wrapped tight around your throat. But their grip is relentless. And their purpose is clear. Their undersides, soft, fleshy, disgusting, press against your face, the proboscis forcing its way into your throat. You'll gag, you'll thrash, you'll feel the tail constricting, cutting off your oxygen in sharp, efficient pulses. You will lose consciousness. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. Maybe you think you could outrun them, If only you found the right corridor, the right exit. Maybe you think you could climb, scramble, hide. You can't. The hive won't let you. The resin is slick, but not in a way that helps. It saps your traction. It makes every handhold slippery. You can't get a grip. You can't climb out. Even if you could, the facehuggers can follow you, up walls, across ceilings. Gravity is irrelevant to them. They are hunters in 3 dimensions, and you are still thinking in 2. You could scream for help, but who would hear you? The hive is isolated by design. No radio signals escape its walls. No sound leaks into the outside world. You are alone, truly and completely. And even if, by some miracle, someone did hear you, by the time they found you, you'd already be cocooned, already impregnated, already doomed. That's the horror of it. There's no salvation, no last-minute rescue, no heroics, just inevitability. You can dodge for a while. You can fight for a moment. But the hive is patient. The facehuggers are relentless. You are just one human, weak, soft, breakable, and the hive has all the time in the world. And when finally your strength gives out, when your limbs fail and your chest heaves in exhaustion, you'll fall and they'll be waiting. The first one will latch onto your face with a wet slap. The tail will coil around your throat, squeezing, holding you in place as darkness washes over you. And as you slip into unconsciousness, the last thing you'll know, the last terrible, undeniable truth, is that your fight is over. You're not escaping. You're not winning. You're becoming something else. If the hive has a heart, it's not the egg chamber, not the corridors where drones stalk you, or the resin-coated walls dripping with the remnants of previous victims. No, the true heart is deeper. It's where the walls pulse harder, where the air is hotter and thicker, where the very atmosphere seems heavier, pressing down on you with an invisible weight. It's where she waits, the queen. You won't find her easily. She's not at the center of some wide-open arena. She's buried deep in the hive's twisted labyrinth, hidden behind layer upon layer of resin and death. It's a fortress, but not built from stone or steel, built from bone, from flesh, from the excretions of her loyal children, a living fortress, pulsating and stinking of decay and birth all at once. You feel her before you see her. It starts as a vibration, subtle but unmistakable, in the soles of your boots. A low thrumming pulse that has nothing to do with your own heartbeat, and everything to do with hers. The walls around you feel tighter here, more aggressive. The air itself seems to resist your movement, like wading through thick, invisible sludge. Every instinct screams at you to turn back. But you don't, or you can't. Maybe you're driven by morbid curiosity. Maybe you're just lost, helplessly funneled by the hive's twisted design into the core of its nightmare. Either way, you stumble into her throne room. It's not a room in the human sense. No clean edges, no straight lines. It's a cavern, vast and terrible, stretching up beyond the reach of your flashlight's beam. The floor is slick with viscous fluids that drip from the walls and ceiling. The air is suffocating, thick with the smell of decay and chemicals, and something else. Something sharp and alien, like the stink of ammonia mixed with blood. And then you see her. At first, you think the walls are moving again. They're not. It's her. All her. She's huge, impossibly massive. 15, maybe 20 feet tall. Her black biomechanical carapace glinting wetly in the dim light. Her elongated skull, crowned with a jagged ridged headplate, extends behind her, like a grotesque mantle. Her body is a horror show of organic weaponry. Clawed limbs, sinewy muscles, armor plated over pulsating flesh. And then there's her ovipositor. It extends from her lower body like a grotesque fleshy pipeline, swollen and wet, anchoring her to the floor. It pulses, slowly, rhythmically, in time with the squirming eggs being deposited one by one. Each egg, still slick and glistening, slides down the resin-coated surface and settles into the growing cluster surrounding her. She is monstrous, yes, but more than that, she is regal in the way only something utterly dominant can be. She doesn't need to posture. She doesn't need to roar or charge. Her stillness is more terrifying than any motion could be, because she knows there's no need for theatrics. You are already defeated. She watches you, or at least you feel her watching, even though she has no eyes. Her massive head tilts slightly, and you know. She's aware of every trembling step you take, every shallow breath you suck in. She's studying you, weighing you, deciding if you're worth the effort. Around her, drones move with careful deference, skittering along the walls and floors, tending to the eggs, maintaining the hive. None approach her too closely. Even they, her loyal children, know better than to risk her wrath. You're frozen, rooted to the spot by a fear so profound it feels physical. Your muscles refuse to move, your mind a blank, screaming void. Every survival instinct you've ever had is on fire, begging you to run. But you know, deep in your bones, that running would change nothing. Because she's not just a queen. She's a god in this hell, a god of flesh and nightmare. And then, with a slow, deliberate movement, she shifts. Her massive limbs flex, the ovipositor quivering as it deposits yet another egg. Resin creaks under the strain of her colossal weight. The drones around her pause, attentive. The atmosphere crackles with tension. You're not here by accident. You've been brought here. She's decided. You're not prey to be devoured. You're not an intruder to be slain. You're a vessel, a cradle for the next generation. The queen emits a low rumbling sound, not a roar, but something deeper, more primal, a vibration that you feel in your bones more than you hear with your ears. A command. The drones respond instantly, peeling from the shadows, their sleek black bodies moving with horrifying grace. They advance slowly, methodically, surrounding you, cutting off any chance of escape. But you're not thinking about escape anymore. You're thinking about how you're going to die, or worse, how you're going to live long enough to wish you hadn't. There's a moment, a terrible, stretching moment, where the drones do nothing. They just watch you. The queen remains motionless too, her ovipositor twitching lazily, another glistening egg settling into the cluster at her feet. She doesn't speak. She doesn't roar. She doesn't need to. This is discipline. This is control. Every drone, every twitching egg, every ribbed wall. It's all an extension of her will. The hive doesn't just follow her. It is her. And here, in her court, you are a trespasser who will not be shown mercy or haste. You'll be shown process. When she moves again, it's slight. Just a small shift of her enormous head, the sharp, ridged crown glistening in the dimness. And that's all it takes. The drones react instantly, moving in perfect synchronization. No hesitation, no confusion, no wasted motion. They peel off the walls and floor, black shapes in the gloom, silent as death. They don't speak, don't hiss, don't scream. They just come. You back up instinctively, but it's futile. They're already around you, herding you with surgical precision. Every route you might have taken is closed off. Every exit is a dead end. You're not being attacked. Not yet. You're being delivered. Two drones close in, their long clawed, fingers flexing, glistening with some unknown secretion. They move with a fluid grace that's almost hypnotic. Heads tilting, jaws twitching, double sets of teeth gleaming. They don't rush. They don't need to. You try to fight. Swinging. Whatever you have, a broken pipe, a knife, your fists, it doesn't matter. The drones are too fast, too strong, too precise. One deflects your weapon with a flick of its claw. Another lunges forward, grabbing your wrist in a grip like steel. The moment it touches you, your body betrays you. Panic surges. Your legs kick, your free arm flails. The high floor is slick under your boots, giving you no traction. Another drone joins in, and another. They don't attack. They immobilize. One grabs your other wrist, another grabs your ankles. A fourth wraps a clawed hand around your face, muffling your scream before it can leave your throat. You're lifted off the ground effortlessly, helpless, weightless in their iron grips. You're carried toward the Queen. As you're hauled closer, the temperature seems to rise. The air gets heavier, hotter, more humid. You feel the vibrations from her massive body through the drone's claws, a deep pulsing rhythm like a heartbeat. Hers, not yours. She watches, unmoving, judging, approving. The drones don't just drop you in front of her. They move with ritualistic precision, placing you carefully onto a fresh patch of resin that glistens wetly under the dim light. As they lower you, the resin shifts, wrapping around your limbs, your torso, your head, tightening with terrifying speed. You're being cocooned. The resin hardens almost instantly, locking you in place. You struggle, violently, desperately, but it's useless. The more you fight, the more the resin seems to constrict, tightening like a living straitjacket. In seconds, you're immobilized. Only your face is left exposed, your eyes wide. With terror, your mouth open in a silent scream. The Queen finally moves again, slow, deliberate. She shifts her massive body, the ovipositor quivering as it deposits another egg. The drones respond, almost reverently, adjusting the new egg's position near the others. And then, the worst moment. She tilts her head toward you. You realize, truly realize, you're not just another victim. You're a resource, a necessary component in the hive's expansion. A cradle for her next child. One of the nearby eggs begins to stir. Its leathery surface quivers, pulsates. The top splits open with a wet, obscene sound, the 4 fleshy petals peeling back to reveal the thing within. A facehugger. It moves differently now, not with the frantic urgency you saw before, but with dreadful purpose. It senses you, smells you, knows you're helpless. It crawls free from the egg, slow and deliberate, its long jointed fingers twitching in anticipation. You thrash against the resin, pointless. The bonds don't give. The drones stand nearby, still and watchful, their glossy exoskeletons glinting in the low light. The facehugger reaches you. It pauses, just for a heartbeat, and then launches. It's fast, but not chaotic, a precision strike. You feel it land. Feel the spindly legs clamp around your head, the tail whip tight around your neck. The underbelly presses against your face, warm, slick, alive, and then the tube forces its way down your throat. You gag. You convulse. You feel it violating your body in ways you can't even comprehend. Darkness creeps in at the edges of your vision. You're not being killed. You're being repurposed. The Queen watches, silent and still, as the facehugger finishes its work. She doesn't move. She doesn't gloat. There's no malice here, only biology, only inevitability. You are part of the hive now, and the Queen is already turning her attention elsewhere. Another egg, another drone, another victim. The cycle continues. There's no peace in unconsciousness. The blackness isn't restful. It's thick and heavy, pressing against your mind like the hive's resin pressing against your body. You drift, barely aware, trapped between wakefulness and nightmare. Every breath you take feels foreign, too shallow, too forced, because it's not you breathing anymore. It's the facehugger, pumping air into your lungs, keeping you alive against your will. You don't know how long you're under. Time dissolves in the hive. Minutes, hours, days, it all feels the same. A slow, suffocating slide toward inevitability. And then, you wake. The facehugger is gone. You're not dead. Not yet. You wish you were. You can't move. The resin has hardened around you like a tomb. Only your face is free, exposed to the damp, choking air. Your arms are fused to the wall, your legs locked down. You try to struggle, to shift even a finger. But there's no give, no hope. You're trapped, pinned upright like a grotesque butterfly in some monstrous display case. Around you, the hive pulses and breathes. The walls seem closer now, more claustrophobic, as if they've tightened while you slept. The air stinks of rot and ammonia and something sharper, something wrong. It fills your nostrils, coats your throat, settles into your lungs. You're not alone. You hear them first. Faint, wet sounds. Whimpering. Sob-snarled breaths. Your head twists as much as it can, and you see them. Other cocoons, embedded in the resin, holding other bodies. Some are fresh, some less so. The fresh ones still twitch, still shift weakly, murmuring nonsense or begging for help no one will ever deliver. Their faces are slick with sweat and tears, their eyes wide with terror or glazed over with shock. The others, the ones that have been here longer, don't move at all, just empty husks, drained and lifeless. You want to scream, but what would be the point? The hive deadens all sound. Your voice would be swallowed up by the damp air, unheard and unanswered. And even if by some miracle someone did hear you, it wouldn't matter. No one's coming. No one ever has. Above you, embedded high in the walls, are bones, skulls half swallowed by resin, rib cages picked clean, empty eye sockets staring blindly into the blackness. Reminders, this is where you die, not in battle, not fighting, not even quickly, but slowly, helplessly, watching the seconds bleed out into nothing while something terrible grows inside you, because it's already started. You can feel it, faint at first, a tightness in your chest, a pressure deep under the sternum. You tell yourself it's just fear, just your mind playing tricks. But you know better. You've heard the stories. The embryo, the chest burster, is inside you now, coiled tight like a serpent, feeding off your body, growing stronger by the minute. You can't feel it move yet, but you will. Soon. And when it's ready, it will tear you apart from the inside out. You close your eyes, trying to will yourself back into unconsciousness, but it's impossible. The resin holds you upright, forces you to stay awake, to stay present, to feel everything. You drift in and out of lucidity, the boundaries between waking nightmare and hallucination blurring. You think you see things, shadows moving just beyond your vision. You think you hear voices, familiar ones, whispering promises of rescue and release. Lies. Only the hive is real. The drones move through the shadows, silent and tireless. You see them sometimes, tending to the walls, dragging fresh bodies into the chamber, stringing up new victims beside you. They don't acknowledge you. They don't taunt you. They don't care. You're already dead as far as they're concerned. One of the newer captives, a man, wakes up screaming. He thrashes against his bonds, shouting, pleading, cursing. The drones ignore him. The walls don't respond. The egg in front of him shivers. He doesn't notice at first. He's too busy screaming. But you see it. The leathery petals at the top begin to part, peeling back wetly. The facehugger within stirs, sensing the fresh host. You want to look away. You can't. The man sees it now. His screams change, become higher, more desperate. He pulls at the resin, tearing at his own skin, trying to get free. It's useless. The facehugger launches, landing squarely on his face. He bucks and thrashes, but it clamps down tight, its tail wrapping around his neck. He's still now. Only the slight, horrible twitch of his fingers betrays the fact that he's still alive, still aware. The facehugger settles in, beginning its grim work. You watch, because what else can you do? You're not next. You're already claimed. The thing inside you stirs, a faint ripple under your ribcage. You suck in a sharp breath, as if you could dislodge it somehow, as if you could fight it with willpower alone. You can't. You're a nest now, a cradle, a coffin. and all you can do is wait. Time dissolves. There's no clock here, no sun, no rhythm of day and night to mark the hours. There's only the slow, aching passage of your own thoughts. And the waiting. Always the waiting. You don't sleep, not really. You drift in, and, out of broken consciousness, your mind scraping along the edges of nightmares that are barely worse than your waking reality. When you close your eyes, you hear it. The slow breathing of the hive itself. The soft, wet sounds of the drones moving somewhere just out of sight. The occasional shriek of another captive succumbing to panic. You hear the eggs too. They pulse, faintly, as if with the heartbeat of the queen herself, waiting for the perfect moment to hatch. Sometimes they split open all at once, a wet chorus of petals unfurling, and the facehuggers scurry out, seeking the nearest host. Sometimes it's someone a few feet from you. Sometimes it's someone much closer. You've seen it happen enough now that you don't even flinch. Horror has become your constant companion, a dull, gnawing presence in the back of your mind. Your nerves are shredded, your muscles twitch uncontrollably, but you can't fight. You can't flee. You can only watch and listen as the hive consumes the last remnants of your humanity. The others don't talk. Not anymore. In the beginning, they begged, whispered prayers, called for mothers, fathers, gods, anyone. But the hive has a way of smothering hope. It strangles words in your throat, crushes dreams under its thick, resinous walls. Now, the chamber is quiet, save for the occasional involuntary sounds. A whimper, a sob, a wet coughing breath. And you wait. Wait for the thing inside you to finish its work. It's growing faster now. At first, it was a subtle pressure, a dull ache behind your sternum, an occasional tightness in your ribs. Now it's different. Now you feel it moving, shifting, curling and uncurling, stretching as it gets bigger, stronger. You feel sick, feverish. Your skin is clammy, your heart hammering with the effort of keeping your body alive long enough to be useful. You know what's coming. You've seen it. The chestburster doesn't make a clean exit. It doesn't slip politely out of your body. It erupts, a savage, violent explosion of gore and broken bone. It doesn't care about the damage it causes. It only cares about getting out, about starting its new life in the only way its biology knows how, by ending yours. You wonder, idly, if it will hurt as much as they say. Probably. You wonder if it will be quick. Probably not. The resin around you shifts occasionally, tightening, settling, holding you in place as if the hive itself senses what's coming and wants to make sure you don't ruin the process. You're an incubator now, precious cargo. The hive will ensure you stay alive long enough for the creature inside you to emerge. You glance around as much as you can. Some of the cocoons are empty now, torn open from within, resin stained dark with old blood. The occupants are gone, or what's left of them is. The new drones move through the shadows, slick and gleaming, fresh-born and eager, their bodies still bearing the wet sheen of afterbirth. The others, the ones who didn't make it, hang limp in their bonds, heads lolled to one side, faces slack and pale. You'll join them soon. The only question is when. There's a sound, a wet, squelching shift, and your stomach twists. For a second, you think it's the hive, but no, it's inside you. The thing stirs again, more insistently this time. You can't help it. You groan, a low, guttural sound torn from your throat. It feels like something is pushing against your ribcage from the inside, testing its prison, looking for a way out. Your breathing becomes shallow, rapid, panic flares. You can't move, can't shift, can't relieve the pressure. You're trapped in your own skin, as surely as you're trapped in the resin. You try not to scream. You fail. The sound tears from your mouth, raw and jagged, echoing, weakly in the chamber before being swallowed by the thick, heavy air. No one answers. No one even looks up. They've all been here too long. They know there's nothing to be done. You hear footsteps, light, careful, and your heart surges with a sudden wild hope. But it's not help. It's a drone. It pauses in front of you, head tilting slightly. You can see your own reflection in its slick, black carapace. A pale, broken thing, barely recognizable. It studies you for a moment, as if measuring your readiness. Then it moves on, disappearing into the shadows. No rescue, only the slow, methodical process of your destruction. You close your eyes again, willing unconsciousness to take you. It doesn't. Instead, you're left awake, aware and helpless, waiting for the inevitable rupture. You wonder if it will be today, an hour from now, a minute. The thing inside you moves again, stronger now, and you realize it's not waiting anymore. It's ready, and you are not. Let's pretend, against every logical probability, that you somehow get free. Maybe the resin was weak. Maybe your captors got distracted. Maybe the hive itself let you go, just for fun. Your body is a wreck. You collapse, to the ground, a heap of shaking limbs and burning lungs. Your muscles scream as you force them to move, clawing at the resin-coated floor, dragging yourself away from the looming eggs, the slithering facehuggers, the ever-watchful drones. You think you've escaped. You haven't. The thing inside you moves again, a hard, insistent push beneath your ribs. Every breath feels heavier. Every step, a monumental effort. Your skin burns with fever. Your vision blurs at the edges. You're not escaping. You're carrying. You don't know it yet, but the hive has already marked you. Every pore of your skin, every fiber of your clothing is saturated with pheromones, an invisible, biological tag. You are a beacon now, a walking lighthouse for the hive's hunters. No matter where you go, they will find you, because the hive remembers. You stagger through the corridors, blinded by the sweat pouring into your eyes, deafened by your own ragged breathing. The walls blur together, ribbed, wet, alive. You stumble through twisting passageways that seem to shift as you move, guiding you, steering you. You think you're finding your way out. You're not. You're being herded. The drones don't rush to catch you. They don't need to. They follow, silent and patient, shadowing your every step, waiting for you to collapse under your own failing strength, or for the thing inside you to do the job for them. You fall in hard, landing on hands and knees. Your vision swims. Your ribs feel like they're splintering from the inside. You gasp, clawing at your chest, but there's nothing you can do. The embryo is growing fast now, doubling in size every few minutes, pushing against bone and muscle and skin. You don't have much time. You pull yourself up, stagger forward, each step a small miracle. Somewhere ahead, a sliver of light, real light, cuts through the darkness. The exit, salvation. You run. You don't think about the drones shadowing your steps. You don't think about the queen's lingering presence, heavy and watchful. You don't think about the egg chamber or the bones embedded in the walls or the dozens of others left behind to die. You think about the light. You burst out into it, stumbling into open air, collapsing onto rocky ground slick with mist and cold. Rain. You suck in lungfuls of fresh air, coughing violently, body racked with tremors. Freedom, but not victory. The pheromones cling to you, invisible and inescapable. Every xenomorph for miles will catch your scent within minutes. They'll come for you, fast and relentless. Even if you could outrun them, it wouldn't matter, because the real enemy is already inside you. The thing moves again, a powerful, writhing motion that steals your breath and buckles your knees. You fall, convulsing, your hands clawing helplessly at your own chest. There's no stopping it now. No surgery can save you. No medicine. No prayer. You are a ticking bomb, a delivery system for a nightmare. The first sharp pain lances through, your chest white-hot and blinding. You scream, a hoarse, broken sound. Your ribs crack audibly. You feel something tear inside, something shift. You realize what's happening. truly realize. And a final wave of terror crashes over you. The embryo is ready. You don't have time to process the horror, the agony, the absolute certainty that your life is measured in seconds. With a final, brutal convulsion, it happens. The chestburster tears free. Your body is shredded from the inside out, a spray of blood and bone. The creature, small, slick, hideous, writhes free from your ruined torso, already screaming its first triumphant breath into the rain-soaked air. You don't see it. You're already dead. But the hive is not. The chestburster doesn't waste time. It scurries into the shadows, growing, shedding skin, transforming into the next perfect predator. The hive has a new soldier. The cycle continues. And if, somehow, you had survived a few minutes longer, if, against every odd, you had managed to crawl, stagger, limp towards some flicker of human civilization, it wouldn't have mattered. The pheromones would have betrayed you. The hunters would have followed. The hive remembers. The hive always remembers. And you, poor fool, are just another stitch in its endless, expanding nightmare. Let's stretch the fantasy a little further. Imagine you didn't die the second the chestburster erupted. Imagine you made it. Staggering and half dead, you reach a medical outpost, a quarantine station, a ship, somewhere with lights and clean floors and the smell of antiseptic instead of rot. Humans rush to you, horrified but determined, dragging your broken body onto a stretcher. They work frantically, slicing open your blood-soaked shirt, patching the external wounds. They pump you full of drugs, strap breathing tubes to your face, slap scanners on your body. They save you. Or so they think. They have no idea what they're dealing with. Because the thing growing inside you, the thing born of you, is not just another parasite. It's a xenomorph. A creature perfectly designed to circumvent every defense, every safeguard, every protocol. The doctors see the damage, but they don't see the bigger threat. The pheromones you carry seep into the air, cling to your skin, soak into your clothes. You're a beacon, a walking siren song. Even if the ship lifts off, even if the outpost seals its doors, it won't matter. The hunters are coming. They'll track you through miles of wasteland, across oceans, into orbit itself if they have to. Xenomorphs are not hindered by distance. They are driven by something far deeper, far simpler, the call of the hive. And your body, your ruined, poisoned body, is broadcasting that call loud and clear. But there's another problem. The embryo. If, by some divine miracle, the chestburster hadn't already torn free, it's only buying time. Hours, maybe less. And by the time the doctors realize what's growing inside you, it's too late. They can't cut it out. You can't surgically remove what's already fused to your organs, your arteries, your spine. The creature inside you is biologically engineered to survive anything that might kill its host prematurely. Scalpel, radiation, chemicals, none of it matters. Try to remove it and you just speed up the inevitable. Try to kill it inside you and it dies with you. And it will ensure you die. But that's only half the nightmare. The hive doesn't just want you dead. It wants you to spread. The pheromones you exhale, the scent clinging to you, mark you for death. Not just your death, but the death of everyone you meet. Every rescuer, every doctor, every innocent bystander is now contaminated, now marked. It's not a one-time thing. It's a contagion. You don't know how many eggs the queen laid. You don't know how many drones slithered away into the darkness after you left. But they know you. They remember you. And they know what you carry. You are a vector, and vectors must be neutralized. The first drone will come silently, maybe while you're unconscious in a recovery bed. It will slip past security, past cameras, past steel doors. It will kill the guards before they even realize what's happening. It will find you, weak, half awake, broken, and it will finish what the hive started. Or maybe it won't. Maybe it will let you live just long enough for the chestburster to finish its work. Let you scream, let you thrash and convulse, and, finally split apart under the weight of the inevitable. The medical staff will panic. They'll try to contain the creature, fumbling with weapons they don't understand against an enemy they can't comprehend. The creature will be small for a few minutes, vulnerable, but not helpless. It will grow quickly, shedding skin, hardening, evolving. Within hours, it will be a full-grown drone, strong, fast, lethal, and the hive will have a foothold. New hosts, new bodies, new eggs. The cycle will continue. You see, there's no escape from the hive, not because it's a place, but because it's a process, a biological inevitability. The queen doesn't care if you run. She doesn't care if you fight. She doesn't care if you think you're safe behind 10-inch thick blast doors. She's already won. From the moment you stepped into her hive, you were hers. Even now, as your body fails, as the embryo inside you writhes toward birth, as the drones close in, you are still serving her purpose. You are proof of her perfection. You are evidence of her inevitability. You are part of the hive now, forever. You don't escape a xenomorph hive. You don't outrun it. You don't outfight it. You don't outsmart it. You walk in, and if you're lucky, you die quickly. If not, you become something worse. A vessel, a cradle, a stepping stone in a cycle that's as endless as it is merciless. The walls won't remember your screams. The queen won't remember your face, but the hive remembers everything. And by the time you realize it, you're already a part of it, forever stitched into its living, breathing nightmare. Sleep tight.